Thanks, everyone. Wow. It's great to be here. I'm so happy this has finally happened. First off, I just want to thank the parents of Mike and Ann, thanks for having us tonight and everything you did to give my friends a great wedding weekend. Same to Dorothy and Bernie. Really appreciate you guys having all of us. Thanks. I guess you might be surprised to hear this, but I'm pretty surprised that I'm up here right now. And I'll tell you why, but first I just want to make a request or set a ground rule. We're here in Philadelphia. It's my hometown. Love to welcome you all here. And I just invite you to get in the spirit of being a Philadelphia audience. If you hear anything you don't like, you disagree with, or if I make a bad joke, just boo me. It really make me feel at home. So thanks for indulging me. Warms my heart. Thank you. So I'm surprised to be here, but maybe not for the reason that you're thinking. Some of you might have jumped to a conclusion and you think I'm going to stand up here and say I'm surprised Dave ever managed to get himself married. And that's not the case. That's not why I'm surprised to be up here. I always knew Dave would get married. Let's face it, Dave's no Disney prince. He's not. Dave's no Disney prince. Anyone who's partied with Dave past 11 p.m. at night knows that he's less of a Prince Charming and more of a Sleeping Beauty. Dave's not even a storybook character. I think if we gave him ruby red slippers right now, instead of bringing us all home, we'd probably end up behind home plate of the Phillies game. Dave doesn't usually dress like a prince, don't let him fool you. I've been tracking the rollout of the new summer wardrobe, and wouldn't describe it as princely so much as Winnie the Pooh fever dream chic. I'll tell you, you wear that in the wrong part of town, you're gonna end up with some hefty lumps and bruisels. That was for the kids, don't worry, come on. So yeah, Dave's no prince, but that voice, straight out of Central Casting, right? But his laugh is more like Goofy went through a second puberty. You know what I mean?
I got his girdle.
So,
Is this a roast or?
you guys are making me feel great. I love this. So I'm surprised to be up here, but maybe not for the reason that you think. You might think I'm gonna say, why would a girl like Eileen go for a guy like Dave? An amazing woman like Eileen. But that's not what I'm gonna say. I've spent a lot of time in the last 27 years of friendship with the Mulherns, so I'm very familiar with these guys somehow marrying amazing women. They all punch above their weight. I think my first introduction to this mystery was at the St. Helena's Horse Show when I was 11 or 12. It's like a county fair for those of you who didn't grow up around here. I stepped in a wasp nest and I got some bee stings and I found out that I was allergic pretty quickly. So as I was wandering around the horse fair, losing my vision, quickly going into anaphylactic shock, I luckily stumbled upon the barbecue tent that the Mulhern parents always worked every year. And right away, Dorothy, Dave's mom, and his Aunt Connie, they jumped into action and they started helping me. Connie took the lead. She's a registered nurse. She got me in an ambulance. They got me some epinephrine. She saved my life. Amazing. Thank you, Connie and Dorothy, again. But there's two sides to every story. I shouldn't discount Tom and Bernie, because despite all of this commotion and distraction, and while their negligent wives were somewhere else, I hear they still managed to serve up some pretty crispy dogs for the hungry people of the parish. No, I'm not. that Dave ended up with an amazing woman like Eileen, because she's joining a great cast of Mulhern women, teachers, doctors, nurses, and she'll be in very good company. So I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm not surprised that these two are sitting here married. That's obvious. So maybe you're thinking, oh, does he have some dirt on Dave? And he's surprised he let him stand up there? And I don't have dirt on Dave. I'll prove it to you by giving you my dirtiest dirt on Dave. I'll tell you about the time we got arrested. Why not?
Whoa!
So a bunch of kids
This
carry a
is
case
funny.
of beer down into the woods. Some of them start drinking it. Shortly afterward, a cop shows up, drags all of us out of the woods, onto the curb, cards us, breathalyzes us, gets us back to the station. He's booing underage drinking, folks. So once we got to the station, the calls started, most of us trying to convince our parents not to leave us in lockup overnight. Meanwhile, Bernie and Dorothy Mulhern got a call from the cops where the cops explained this was the first ever group of underage drinkers who had designated drivers who hadn't had a sip of alcohol.
Woo-hoo!
Dave was one of those designated drivers.
Yeah, Dave!
And the cops loved this so much that they asked Dave to ferry some of his friends to the station for them, and then deliver us back home after we
Go
were
home?
released.
Yeah, it's
So like, how do you dish dirt on a guy who, in his first arrest as a teenager, basically ends up an honorary deputy? It's his only arrest so far, is what he wanted me to tell you. So I'm not surprised that he let me up here, because I don't have any dirt on him. I was actually thinking about making fun of you for loving 90s boy band music, but last night a few of us were hanging out and Dave started making fun of people in his spin class for not knowing a song by that a song was by 98 Degrees. So he's shameless. Not only does he have nothing to be ashamed of, but the one thing that maybe I could make fun of him for, he's totally shameless about. So I'm not surprised by that, but I'll tell you why I'm surprised to be up here. I'm surprised because a friendship, we've known each other since we were 7, I think. A friendship has no business lasting for 27 years. And I'm honestly surprised and so happy that it has. And, you know, in all that time, we've gone through some obvious challenges: puberty, dating, other friendships, college popularity, high school popularity, not college. And then, you know, separation after high school. We had both had to go to different colleges. Since then, we've both lived off of the East Coast for 3 years at a time, separate times, in Los Angeles and Hong Kong. And we managed to get through that. Every time we would come home, we would manage to find each other and hang out. It was like we had never left. But I've had bigger challenges than that in 30 years of life. I've gone through periods of deep self-doubt and depression. And it's hard to love yourself during those times. And it's really hard to accept love during those times. I hope none of you ever have to feel that way about yourselves, but if you do, you know you push people away who do love you. And Dave is the friend who refused to be pushed away. He was always there for me, and he was always showing me how much he loved me. So I know how unrelenting Dave's love is, and I am the man I am today. And I'm standing here because Dave refused to be pushed away. And I love him so much for that. And Eileen, I mean, I know the way he talks to you, and I know the way he loves you. I know the way he talks about you, and I know that you have decades of that same relentless love to look forward to with one of the most loyal men I've ever met. So, with that being said, I'd like to raise a toast to these two. To marrying for character, to one more strong Mulhern woman among many, to shamelessness, and to unrelenting love forever. Cheers.